Hello and welcome to Art Song Notes. My name is Cara Alfano. In today's video, we're going to be talking about The Lass from the Low Country by John Jacob Niles. Niles was an American composer and folk singer who championed, among other things, the folk song tradition of the Appalachian Mountain region of the United States. This song, The Lass from the Low Country, is likely inspired by that vocal music tradition. Now, in today's video, we're going to read through the lyrics together and then talk about the meaning of those lyrics and see how it could relate to you as the singer. We'll also take a look at the compositional structure of the song, and then we'll end with me giving you some vocal technique tips that can help you in your practicing of The Lass from the Low Country. So let's get started by reading through the lyrics together. The text of The Lass from the Low Country reads as follows. Oh, he was a lord of high degree, and she was a lass from the low country. But she loved his lordship so tenderly. Oh, sorrow, sing sorrow. Now she sleeps in the valley where the wild flowers nod, and no one knows she loved him but herself and God. One morn, when the sun was on the mead, he passed by her door on a milk-white steed. She smiled and she spoke, but he paid no heed. Oh, sorrow, sing sorrow. Now she sleeps in the valley where the wild flowers nod, and no one knows she loved him but herself and God. If you be a lass from the low country, don't love of no lord of high degree. They hain't got a heart for sympathy. Oh, sorrow, sing sorrow. Now she sleeps in the valley where the wild flowers nod, and no one knows she loved him but herself and God. So the first thing I want to address are some phrases and words that you may or may not know what they mean. The first phrase is Lord of high degree. Well, this refers to a gentleman who was born into a family of wealth and position and prestige. The next phrase I want to highlight is low country. Now, Merriam-Webster defines low country as the following: a low-lying country or region, especially the part of a southern state extending from the seacoast inland to the fall line. Now, when applying the phrase low country to this song, we're actually talking about the low-lying coastal regions of South Carolina and Georgia, which was the home of many wealthy plantation owners. Now, the third word I'd like to draw your attention to is the word mead. It is not referring to an alcoholic drink in this case, but rather is the poetic version of the word meadow. Now, next, let's talk about what this song is about. Well, if I was going to sum it up into two sentences, it would be the following. A young lady who is of poor means falls for a wealthy man who completely ignores her. She dies of a broken heart. Now, how do we know that she died? Well, when we look at the words of the refrain, now she sleeps in the valley where the wild flowers nod. So the word sleep here refers to eternal sleep or death. She has been laid to rest in the valley, and even the wildflowers nod their heads, mourning her loss and showing her respect. Now, this song isn't only just meant to be a vehicle to sing a sad story, but being a folk song, it's also meant to convey a lesson. And the lesson that we learn from this folk song is thus: don't fall for someone with whom you're not compatible. Now, in the specific case of this song, it has to do with a lady of poor means falling in love with someone above her station. So how could you, a singer in the 21st century, relate to this kind of a message? Well, first of all, I want you to remember that you are serving as the narrator, as the storyteller. So when you sing this song, know that you are first conveying a message of hope, but then you are conveying a message of sadness and loss mixed with anger and injustice. When you sing this ballad, I would encourage you to think about a time where you have felt overlooked, or maybe a time when you have a friend who has been betrayed or who has suffered some form of injustice. Folk songs provide a format to convey emotions through the stories of the human condition. So don't be afraid to let yourself feel when you sing it. Now, let's take a look at the structural composition of The Lass from the Low Country. The Lass from the Low Country is a ballad, and it's written in the folk song form of A-A-A. It consists of 3 verses, each with a refrain. Now she sleeps in the valley where the wildflowers nod, and no one knows she loved him but herself and God. Now, like many folk songs, the melody is very singable. It moves primarily in a stepwise motion, and it's free from complicated rhythms. It also remains in the home key for the entire duration of the song. The voice line is doubled in the piano accompaniment, except for a few places where the voice line is played an octave above where the singer would sing. And this makes it really great for beginning voice students because they can feel confident when they hear their voice line doubled in the piano. I know I assign it to beginning voice students all the time. So now let's talk about some vocal technique tips that can help you as you practice The Lass from the Low Country. Vocal technique tip number 1. Use lip trills, tongue trills, buzzy Z's, or buzzy V's to help you practice the proper breath support you are going to need to support your sound. So when you are singing through the melodic lines, try using any of those tools to help teach your body what kind of breath support you need that will help you effectively and efficiently support your voice no matter where you're singing in your vocal range or what dynamic level you might be singing at. Vocal technique tip number 2, don't close off that E vowel on the word sleeps. Now that word sleeps is set on the highest notes of the song. And so remember to modify that E vowel by opening it up to an I vowel. You're going to feel a lift in that soft palate. If you sing it like a bright E, you're going to feel tension in the back of the throat, and it's probably going to cause your pitch to go flat, and you're not going to like that sound. So modify that E vowel by opening it up and feeling a lift in the soft palate. Vocal technique tip number 3, think about the syllabic emphasis of the words. So in each phrase, pick out the most important words and then pick out the most important syllables and put a little bit of extra emphasis into those syllables. What you want to do is avoid sounding like a robot when you have a phrase that has multiple eighth notes in a row. So think about syllabic emphasis. Vocal technique tip number 4, let the beginning and ending consonants of your words be crisp and energetic. Just because I've been encouraging you to sing a legato line doesn't mean you can be lazy with those consonants. So get those articulators working. Vocal technique tip number 5. Make the refrain sound a little different each time you sing it. You will sing the refrain 3 times. So possibly assign a different dynamic level to each one of the refrains, or better yet, assign a different emotion to each one of the refrains that will help you color your voice. And then your last vocal technique tip is Don't be afraid to be emotive. I know I mentioned it before, and I'm going to say it again. If you can connect with the story that you're telling on an emotional level, then your audience will be able to connect to it as well. Thank you so much for joining me today as we talked about the last from the Low Country. I hope you found this video helpful in your study of this song. And if you did, then check out some of the other videos here on this channel and consider subscribing to this channel. Until next time, happy singing.